Hey guys, I got this email I want to read to you. So it says, I ran across this guy that thinks of himself as educated, but is overcomplicating things and am completely missing the point. I am a simple man. I see evil with my own eyes, and I decide not to go that route. Could you please do a video explaining how smart people become idiots? Yeah. Okay, so really, smart people become idiots because they're good order followers and and you know, test takers, but they don't have like this they don't have like whole brain skills, it seems. So also, let's just back it up for a minute. So who defines what smart is? I think different people have different types of intelligence. In the module that I'm working on now, I forgot which one it is, but there's this activist named Vindaya Shiva, and she was talking about how she went to college, and she's Indian, and she's talking about how she went to college, and she's like, I'm like, you know, thinking of herself as this hotty-toddy intellectual person, and she was doing work with these people that were in the village, but they knew a lot about ecology. And she, you know, she said she really had to humble herself because she thought having a degree made her a more intelligent person. But as she got to work with other people, she realized that everybody has all types of knowledge, and that's true. And I look at all of these smarty pants, quote unquote, in Silicon Valley that's supposed to be the brightest minds in the world, but they don't really know anything about gardening. They can't build things. You know, all they know is computers, and that's not really sustainable, because if something happens, like, what are they going to do? Eat their iPhones, right? So it's really going to be the people, the deplorables, quote unquote. They know how to hunt, they know how to fish, they know how to garden, they know how to shoot. Those are the people, and they have knowledge, and that takes intellect and knowing things. So it depends on what you mean by smart people. But I know what you mean, right? Like people that have PhDs, people that are doctors. You know, I was just reading this article the other day, and it was like on sociopaths, and the professions that have the most sociopaths are surgeons, doctors, CEOs, lawyers, journalists, professors, all these people that we deem to be worthy and deem to be, you know, intelligent people. And, you know, one of the reasons that people get jobs like that, you would think that maybe you want to be a professor because you want to educate people. And for some people, that's the case. You want to be a doctor, you want to be a surgeon because you want to heal people. For some people, that might be the case. You want to be a journalist because you want to fight for truth. Some people, that might be the case. CEO, well, I mean, you just want to be, you know, you want to have money, and you know, that's kind of that's a little bit more, people can probably really understand that one. But it's like, okay, so let's go with doctor, right? So doctor, surgeon, yes, okay, some people want to heal people, but then the other people that want control, they want to be able to tell people, I'm a doctor. And if you notice that most people do capitulate to doctors, they you know, when people even say that they're a doctor, they're a surgeon, they went to medical school, you know, people give their power up to them. These are also professions where people give their trust to them, right? It's kind of like, you know, a lot of pedophiles are teachers in the religious or in churches and synagogues and stuff like that, because people trust these people. So when you're a sociopath, you feed off of people's trust and their naivety, their naiveness, the fact that they don't, God, I'm at a loss for how to say that word, but anyway, you're feeding off of off the power. Just think of things in terms of energy. You're feeding off the power. They're feeding off the power that you're giving them, right? So, you know, I've even had guys come up to me and I'm like, hi, and they're like, hi, I'm a doctor, and I'm like, okay, I'm over it. I'm not gonna, like, you know, genuflect and kiss your ass because you're a doctor. Are you a good doctor? Are you a cool doctor? What kind of person are you? Or do you have a personality? Are you a sociopath? Do you just tell people that you're a doctor? You know, and Dr. Shiva talks about doctors, you know, as also kind of being locked in, right, of this, like, if this then that, if this then that. They just, like, kind of, they have these regimented solutions, but they don't have whole brain skills. So it's like, there's this documentary, if you guys, everybody should see this documentary or docu-series. They've made about 3 now. It's called The Truth About Cancer. And I think it's imperative, not if you know somebody that has cancer or if you have cancer, to see it, but I think this is just common knowledge that people should know, because, you know, if you know these things, doctors that are sociopaths that get kickbacks from the chemotherapy that they give you cannot, you know, coerce you into fear and getting chemotherapy that's going to ruin your body because you have this prior knowledge. So backing up, one of the guys, so basically this docu-series, this man and his wife, Ty Bollinger and Charlene Bollinger, they go around the world and they interview people talking, and doctors who have had success curing patients from cancer naturally without ruining their immune systems. And most people they die from the treatment, not the cancer. Okay, so he was talking to this one doctor who's an orthomolecular biologist or doctor, and he was talking about like PET scans. And PET scans is one of the ways that you can determine if somebody has cancer or not. So when you're getting a PET scan, they inject you with radiated sugar. And they were talking about how cancer feeds off of sugar. And if you have cancer, you shouldn't eat sugar. So the interviewer is like, well, most doctors must know this. And he was like, no, because when you get a PET scan, they inject you with radiated sugar. And then the cancer cells light up on the scans because and that's how they know where the cancer is. So they should know that cancer feeds off of sugar. But it's like they miss these simple elementary connections to certain things. It's like for the shingles vaccine. So the shingles vaccines, if you go deep into the research, the shingles is related to varicella, which is chickenpox. And varicella, basically people are getting shingles because they've had the chickenpox vaccine, or they know that the chickenpox vaccines is causing shingles. So what do? They invent another vaccine to stop the shingles. And now they're finding out that people are getting shingles from the shingle vaccine that they invented. I mean, it's just utter lunacy, right? But it's, people's paradigms have to shift in order to really understand why we have these people. It's a form of a celebrity, right? When you have PhD, this credentialist attitude that people have, people get credentials and they get their PhDs. And I've had a couple friends that were on their way to getting PhDs and they just saw what bullshit it was, and they just saw the arrogance of the people. And when they want to say, I'm a doctor, I'm a PhD, I wrote a book, I'm a professor, and then a lot of people go, oh my God, I'm not worthy, just like celebrities, right? It's just another form of idol worship, right? So it's like, how people worship celebrities, and then there's the world of science and stuff. People, like the Nobel Prize is equivalent to an Oscar. They're people that whore out and sell their soul and backstab people and steal their research and do stuff like that. You hear about you see like this old movie Showgirls, you hear about dancers like pushing people down the stairs to get roles in musicals and stuff like that. But there's the same thing goes on in the science world. These people are no better, they're no morally superior, but this whole picture is painted of them, of people that go into these fields as being moral superior human beings, because we think that, if you're a doctor, you're a scientist, you're morally a superior person because you want to help people. But a lot of people hide behind that guise, because they just want the power and the fame and the money. People steal each other's scientific ideas just because there are people that fake papers in the science industry. There are people that steal people's inventions, just to get the fame and the power. So they're just people, just like me and you. But I also, one of the reasons, there are quite a few reasons I quit teaching in the system, but one of the reasons too is I noticed that there is a systematic approach to push people into their left brain thinking, which is just a test taking and regurgitating memorized information. Because a lot of these people who think they're so smart, they regurgitate information basically. They're not looking outside any other sources other than what they're told to look at, right? They don't have the clarity of mind. They can think deeply about things, but they can't think clearly about things. And they're very dismissive of anybody that has any ideas or any perspective outside of their paradigm. And that becomes a problem because you stay stuck and you stay in a state of devolution and you don't evolve. But yeah, you push, these people are getting pushed in to this left side brain where, as human beings, we should be whole brain thinker. I think there is a time for logical reasoning and thinking, and then I think there's a time for creativity. And if you notice a lot of the scientists, if you're thinking about scientists and people that make inventions, they they actually use their creative side, because a lot of the scientists, and they're just worker bees, right? They're just like, oh, like, you know, they don't, the people that actually solve problems and win prizes and get notoriety, they usually think outside the box. And more often than not, when they do that, then they're chastised, and they're you know, they get attacked by their colleagues because they're not following, you know, the rules, which is dogmatic, which is really like a religion, which is scientism. I call it scientism. Like, science has become a religion. Even now, people use the phrase, I believe in science. Well, it's a methodology. So how do you believe in something that's a methodology? It's not a religion, but people say that, right? You know, they all these whistleblowers that come out and have different perspectives. There are many different sides and different perspectives in science, but because of, you know, society, and again, as you guys know how much I hate the media, but the media is also very complicit in this, in, you know, painting the view that anybody else that has any other perspectives, any doctors, you know, with the COVID thing and stuff, has any perspectives outside of the paradigm, they're a quack, they're a coon, they're a kook. They're spreading conspiracy theories, you know? So, yeah, but, you know, yeah, they're not really smart. A lot of these people, my friend, you know, she went to school, which she calls elitist people, and some of the things she's told me, and some of the stuff I've seen on her timeline on Facebook, these are the most horrible fucking people I ever met in my life. But these are people that work in medicine and science, and, you know, they have degrees, like you know, they have like prestigious degrees, and they work for the UN, and they're just the most horrible people. Anybody that, you know, has a different political perspective than them, that has a different idea, you know, they're not even, you would think that somebody at that level would be open, because you know, it's like when they get their degrees and it's like their brain shuts off, and they're just like, I'm done learning. There's nothing more for me. I know everything. And they think they know everything. And they have this, they have this air about them, like they own everything. They own any idea, they own any perspective, because they're educated and they're smart. But the best thing that you can do, which when I love doing, is just don't give those people any credibility unless they deserve it. Like, if you're a doctor, like when I have doctors now, I don't really have any allopathic doctors anymore. You know, God forbid if I'm in an accident, you know, I think that's where their place is. But, you know, like with broken bones and plastic surgery and, you know, injuries, bullet wounds, gunshot wounds, stabbing, stuff like that, that's where they shine, that's where they thrive. But anything else, I'm not fucking going to a doctor ever again. I've had too many bad experiences, and then I know how they're trained, and I know their attitude, and I'm just like, so now, you know, I deal with a naturopath, a chiropractor, acupuncturist for certain things. And a lot of these people, they're very humble, and it should be like a give-take relationship, just kind of like a partnership. It should be you going to them for help, you tell them what is wrong with you, and then they listen to you instead of making you feel like shit because they don't understand what's wrong with you. And if they can't find out what's wrong with you, then they should say that and not, you know, treat you like you're a dumbass because they don't know what's wrong. But that's how a lot of the allopathic doctors are. But the doctors, when I seek out a doctor now, I look for somebody to be a partner in my healing with, if that makes sense, right? Just kind of like a relationship, right? Like any relationship that you would want to have, like with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, right? Or a friendship, right? You want to have that relationship with your doctor too. You don't want them, and you shouldn't give them the authority to tell you what to do with your own body. You should, you know, it should be equal 50-50, right? You know, they're working for you. You're giving them your business. They're your business, right? They're working for you. You don't work for them. So you shouldn't be kissing their ass, right? But a lot of people do that. And unfortunately, that's why a lot of these dumbass people think that they're, you know, the God's gift to the world, because they're people that do kiss their ass. So what you can do is, you know that no one is omniscient and no one is omnipotent, and be open. And if somebody tries to pull that fucking, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a whatever, I'm a better human being than you because I went to school and you didn't. I know most of the people I know that are really smart didn't even go to college, okay? Right? Like, that's I can do a whole video on that whole like racket about college and stuff, right? But, you know, and I just love just not giving people, and it's funny because when you don't do that, they can't take it. They fucking freak out because they're like, it's like they short circuit. Like I had this guy, I forgot his name, but I was on his channel and he was a patriot, but then he found out I was an anti-vaxxer, and then he started like sending me stuff and bugging me on social media and stuff like that. And I just wanted him to go away. He was getting on nerves because it's like I gave him a bunch of stuff. Like I've been, I'm at this. I've been doing this for 10 years. This is all the information I know is stuff that lay people should know. It's hidden from lay people. But I can't do surgeries. I'm not allowed to do surgeries. I wouldn't want to do surgeries because I'm not trained. I can't give medical advice. I'm not a doctor, but I have a right to know as much as a doctor knows, and I have a right to know how my body works, and I have a right to know what goes into my body. So most people don't know that, though. They just give their power over and expect doctors to do that for them. So this guy's coming at me, and he was like, well, I spent $200,000 and got a master's. I was like, so? And he was like, I'm like, I was like, yeah, well, really, because you need to go and get a refund. You need to ask whatever institution you went to for a refund, because obviously you spent all that money and you still don't know shit. He got so pissed and he cursed me out. He called me a dick. I took it as an honor. He blocked me. I was like, phew, finally. Hopefully he'll never bother me again. But I mean, that was all he can do. And we had this other guy that would come to us when we'd post stuff about vaccines on our page, and he was a doctor, and all he had was ad hominem attacks. Like, can you explain this? Can you explain that? So he couldn't explain shit because he didn't know shit. And it's a shame. It's a shame. I feel bad for the doctors. I get my information from doctors and scientists, but lo and behold, those people are attacked and threatened, and because, they have a point of view that they can actually explain and it's logical, while the doctors that didn't study, all they study in medical school with vaccines is to give them on time, and that they're the greatest miracle that ever happened on planet Earth. That's it. That's all they know. And all the doctors that know specific things about, like, long-term effects, what's in the vaccine, how it affects people, they've had to go out of their curriculum that they learned in school to learn this. And plus, medicine is very compartmentalized too. That's another issue I have with allopathy, is the compartmentalization with certain things. So, if you go to Chinese medicine or something, that's holistic, they have a better understanding of how the human body works as a whole, where like you just go to certain doctors for allopathic medicine and they just study this one part and this one part, and they don't really communicate with each other. So, but yeah, like that doctor, all he had was ad hominem attacks. It was so funny. And he was just like, we were just watching him melt down, because we weren't like, oh, I'm sorry, doctor. Oh my God, you're a doctor. We'll just kiss your ass until our lips turn blue. Like, we weren't like that. And we're just like, so give a fuck, And I'm just to the point too. I'm just like, well, if, I have this attitude too, where, I go to a doctor and I'm like, you're working for me, I'm not working for you. So you can kick me out of your office. I'll just find another fucking doctor that's, that knows their shit and doesn't kick me out because they spent like $500,000 on medical school and they can't fucking tell me, what an excipient list is for vaccines. Like, you can suck it, okay? So anyway, I hope that explains your video or your answer. I went kind of long, but yeah, I hope that makes sense. Message me in the comments. Let me know who you are and if you got this video, if I answered your question correctly. I want to start writing again, so I've actually been wanting to do a video on this. And just remember, when you think that somebody, because they have a degree, is smart and gracious and a good person, remember the first documented serial killer, H.H. Holmes, was a doctor. A documented serial killer in America was a doctor, okay? And more on that later, but that's it. All right. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace, truth, and bye-bye. Mwah.